Hello everyone, Dr. Adanich here. Today I'm going to share with you voice of a verb in English. This is a part of a course in Communicative English Language 2 in Ethiopian context for undergraduate students. So let's get started the discussion. I have two main questions here. What is a voice of a verb? What's the difference between active and passive voice? When do we use active and passive voice? Which one is used for academic writing? What is in passive but not in active voice? What kind of verbs are used in active and passive voice? Okay, what is voice of a verb? Voice is a form of verb to indicate whether the subject performs or receives the action. It has two types, active and passive voice. Let's see the difference between passive and active voice. Active voice tells you what the subject of a sentence does, or an action performed by the subject is expressed by the verb. Active voice is used for more clarity. Active voice is direct and clear tone. Active voice is preferred voice in academic writing. Most English sentences are written in active voice. When we look at passive voice, the passive voice creates a new subject when the action expressed by the verb is received by the subject. When the doer of the action is not known, we use passive construction. When we want to use passive, the focus is on the action, but not on the subject. In passive construction, we don't use to whether the action is performed, but not the subject. Moreover, in active sentence, we don't use verb to be. In passive voice, a form of verb to be is used. What are verb to be in English? There are 8 verb to be in English. These are, as you have seen here listed, 8 of them. Is, be, are, was, were, being, and been. One of these are added in passive voice based on the tense in an active voice. Passive voice used past participle form of the main verb. As an example here, I wrote a letter. This is an active construction, and then physically we don't use verb to be, one of these. Whereas we use in passive construction, a letter was written by me. This is a passive construction, be verb is used here, plus past participle form of the given main verb. Here, the past participle form of wrote or write is written. The other difference is we use the by phrase preposition in passive construction. It's also omitted. It can be omitted, since in passive, the focus is on the action rather than the agent. There are also difference between passive and active voice in usage of the verb. That means that using transitive and intransitive verb. Let's get started to discuss about what transitive and intransitive verb is. Okay, verbs used in active and passive voice. A verb can be described as transitive and intransitive based on their need of an object. Transitive verbs need an object. Whether it is direct or indirect or both, it needs. For example, the teacher taught a lesson. Here, after the verb taught, we have an object here. So that this is the verb taught is one of transitive verb. The other example, I love you. The verb love needs an object, then this verb is called transitive verb. So all these transitive verbs can be changed into passive construction. Let's have a short list about these verbs. As we have seen here, you have to read and more on this. Okay, some of them are beat, bend, bite, admit, and the likes. The next verb is called intransitive verb. Intransitive verbs do not need an object. They usually have a complement. This complement may be adverb or adjectives. For example, They looked angry. The verb looked is intransitive verb and it doesn't need an object. This angry shows that a complement, not an object. So this is called intransitive verb. Another example is that he became famous. Became is one of intransitive verb and famous is not an object, rather it's a complement. The other, the same example, is I agree completely, or we can say I agree. So the verb agree doesn't need an object, rather it might be used here a complement, one of the adverb or the adjective. These verbs are non-convertible verbs into passive. In general, intransitive verbs cannot be changed into passive construction. Rather, transitive verbs are changed into passive construction. Here I have a short list of intransitive verbs. You can get started, you can understand them, and you can add more short lists, more intransitive verbs on it. When we move off the comparison between this transitive and intransitive verb, we have an action, a question, which is called what. When we want to check whether the verb is transitive or intransitive, we have to ask a question. If you have an answer for that question, you have an object and the verb is called transitive. Let's see the three examples here. She ate the bread. What she ate? The bread. Because of this, it is called transitive. Balai gave Salam a present. What Balai give? A present. Can you swim? Can you swim? So, when you look at this one, can you swim? What to do? What you can? Swimming. So that this question is answered after the verb, so that we can identify the verb is transitive and then it can be changed. Intransitive verb, in the contrary, cannot be answered such kind of questions. What questions? He laughed. Can we say what? It rained. She lied. And the likes. So this is mostly different one to the other. Okay, easily we can identify one to the other. Finally, we'll have ergative verbs, which means that both transitive and intransitive verbs. Here are very long list of ergative verbs. Some of them are transitive, some of them are intransitive. The same is true, both one verb acts as both transitive and intransitive verb. Let's see example. You can read the list of these ergative verbs. Let's see examples here. I have four verbs here. Four of them are act as transitive and intransitive. Change, for example. Marriage has not changed her. As I already mentioned, we can ask a question. Marriage has not changed her. What has not changed? Her. Okay. Environment is changed greatly in the last decades. Look at the phrases after the change. Which one is transitive? Which one is intransitive? Okay. Here we cannot say it is transitive. This is a complement. Here we can say her is an object case. So this one is transitive. Second one is open. He opened the door. Okay, look the word, the phrase, the door after open. Can we say this one transitive verb? Yes. Can we say this one at 10 a.m. transitive verb? No. So let's look do. Have you done your coursework? Look after done. Your coursework. Can we say this one as an object? Yes. You. And I've done well. Can we say well as an object? No, it's a complement. So that we have to identify whether the verb is transitive or not, we have to check whether the following word or phrase is acting as an object or not. Okay, so that in the next discussion we'll have how to change active to passive. Okay, the 4-sentence function, conditional sentence, how do we change sentence with 2 objects. Plus to that, we'll see modal verbs, semi-modals, past modals, and we'll see also how to write a paragraph using passive and active voice. Thank you so much for watching.